Hi, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Tuesday, May 26. News from Arkansas. Gee, it seems like the legislature just quit. Now they're back again. They've started what's supposed to be a very short session, maybe as few as 3 days today, for a limited agenda to address a couple of big items. First thing this morning, Governor Asa Hutchinson was joined by our U.S. senators and other congressmen with a model of Lockheed Martin's proposal for a tactical vehicle to succeed the Humvee. The state proposes to issue $87 million in bonds to help Lockheed Martin, which is a little tiny old $45 billion defense contractor, expand its plant in Camden to build this vehicle if it gets a contract. There are 3 competitors. The decision is going to be made by the federal government this summer. It was interesting to see people like Cotton, who's such an opponent of welfare spending and bloated government spending, to appear at a news conference at which he proposes to take Arkansas tax money and give it at the rate of $6 million a year for a total of $120 million, counting interest payments, to help a giant defense contractor win a contract from the federal government. Something seems to be missing this to me. Seems to me that the question ought to be is who makes the best vehicle and who makes it for the best price, and that shouldn't be a decision based solely on geography. If Lockheed Martin's the best factory, let them win it and let them do it with a heads-up bid that operates on free market principles. I thought that's what Republicans believed in, not in this particular case. The other big issue is a proposal that Hutchinson also favors to move the primary elections in 2016 from May to March. This is so that the presidential primary will be contested in March. This is something the Republican Party wants because it would like the South to be a major player in deciding who the Republican presidential nominee is. There's some differences in this, even among Republicans and certainly among some Democrats. Moving up all the elections will shorten the election cycle a good bit. It'll move the election to March the 1st, which could be a problem weather-wise. Nobody really thinks that Arkansas will really get great attention in a presidential race anyway. If the likely contenders include Mike Huckabee and Hillary Clinton, they'll both be expected to lead in Arkansas and not expect much challenge from anybody else, so we won't see a lot of activity as a result. There may be a little bit of debate on this. One bill filed today by Nate Bell, I haven't been able to talk to him, but suggests that there's a difference in his reading of what the situation should be than what's been proposed. So we'll have to see how that shakes out. The meetings will begin seriously tomorrow, I think. Also news at the state capitol, Circuit Judge Sean Womack of Mountain Home announced that he's going to run for Arkansas Supreme Court in 2016. This is for the seat now held by Paul Danielson. Danielson said he'd like to run again, but he'd have to forfeit his retirement under current law that says if you're elected after you're 70, that you can't keep your retirement benefits. This has an impact not only on a judge but on surviving spouses, so regretfully he's not going to run. It's interesting that Womack will be a candidate. He's been running for at least a year already. He's an outspoken anti-gay person. He would certainly not be a vote for same-sex marriage were he on the court today based on his legislative record. He was an intensely partisan Republican legislator, but the court frankly is moving in that direction without having partisan elections. It's been achieved by a variety of means, and he'll be one more in that direction if he isn't opposed and if he is elected. News on the Bob Duggar front. You're familiar, of course, with the story that's developed because of the revelation that his son was accused some years ago of sexually molesting people children within the household. No charges were filed, and he said he's gone straight and apologized to all concerned. Advertisers continue to flee TLC's lineup for sponsors for the 19 and counting show the Duggars are in. That could spell the end of the program. There have been other attention given to the Duggars as a result of this. Somebody dug up a campaign ad that Bob Duggar ran in 2002 when he ran for U.S. Senate, in which he said people who committed incest should be given capital punishment. So, some items for reading for your consideration. Take a look at the Arkansas blog today and read Ernest Dumas' column for this week, which gives Mike Huckabee some instruction on a guy named James Madison and the separation of church and state, something that Mike Huckabee and other Republicans seem to have turned on their head lately by using religion through government to enforce their ideas of discrimination against others. Also, an interesting poll on Talking Points memo this morning that shows that most legislators think that their voters are far more conservative than they actually are. Certainly we've seen this in Arkansas with policies approved by the legislature that are far more conservative than the viewpoints expressed in the annual Arkansas poll, so that's interesting. Finally, interesting note on the blog over the weekend, Baker Curris, a new Little Rock school superintendent, made the rounds of high school graduations in Little Rock last week, discovered at McClellan that his speech wasn't going over very well, even though he tried to keep it as short as possible. he's a member of a band that plays in a prison ministry, and he decided he'd sing to him instead. He chose Leon Russell's A Song for You, and it was a big hit with everybody. I'm hoping to get a video sometime soon. Don't know if I'm going to go to singing, but turn out the lights. The party's over. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.